Start protecting your internet experience today with 66% off a 2-year plan by using code NERDSOUP at nordvpn.com/nerdsoup. Now, before we spiral into this episode of mass murder and personal tragedy that you bloodthirsty psychos have been craving, I want to talk to you guys about internet protection, and that protection begins with NordVPN. It's about time we had this conversation. NordVPN is considered the most efficient and effective VPN service out there today. And you may ask, what is NordVPN? What is a VPN? Well, I'll tell you. NordVPN specializes in VPN technology, basically a virtual firewall that protects your internet experience when you're browsing the web. NordVPN provides you with a private network that you can connect to in order to share information publicly with the added security. NordVPN's user-friendly interface allows you to easily access their private networks that operate on thousands of servers in 61 countries worldwide. With this added security, you can share your personal information with the peace of mind that it won't be stolen. You can also access content from different countries around the world that usually wouldn't be available to you. This is the advantage of using NordVPN's worldwide servers. And remember, NordVPN is not just for your desktop. You can access it on your Android or iOS device. NordVPN is offering my viewers 66% off a 2-year plan that works out to just $3.99 per month. Just go to nordvpn.com/nerdsoup or click the link in the description below to sign up and start protecting yourself today. That's nordvpn.com/nerdsoup and use the code NERDSOUP at checkout and get started today. Game of Thrones Season 3, Episode 9.
No banter?
No banter?
You just went right into it. Usually we have a nice little...
No, I usually start with Game of Thrones Season 3, Episode 9.
Do you?
Yeah, it's like literally every time we do this, I start with Game of Thrones Season whatever, episode, that episode.
Oh. All right, my bad.
What do you think, like, the episode is too powerful for the banter?
I thought, like, no funny business. We just gotta get right into it. And...
Moment of silence.
Yeah.
Instead of banter. I close my eyes. Yeah, so this is the episode that everybody has been waiting for us to review, and we talked about it when we started this, that if we get to this episode and then if we get to Hardhome, it'll be well worth it. And, I mean, the Rains of Castamere, everybody is so familiar. If you're familiar with the show, you're familiar with this episode. One of the most iconic moments in television history, one of the best episodes of television that you're ever going to find. The Rains of Castamere, the infamous Red Wedding that takes place at the end of this episode. I mean, just to start, before we get into the actual scenes, I mean, what do you think about this episode? Do you think it's the best that the series has ever done?
It's definitely up there. I would say 1 or 2, maybe 3, but I think they have like a handful of perfect episodes, and this is one of them. And even rewatching it now, I was still getting like a little emotional, even though I know what's happening and I fucking seen it 100 times.
I cried twice.
Yeah?
I cried twice, and I'll tell you the scenes.
I was getting like chills and everything. I'm like, damn, they're really going to smoke him again. I'm like...
He's going to get out of it. He's fine.
Yeah, so...
I think what I don't realize about this episode, too, is that obviously the Red Wedding, but all the other scenes that don't involve Robb and the War of the Five Kings, all these other moments with these characters, they're just great. These scenes are perfect, and they fit so well within the context of this episode, the way that they're going back and forth. Obviously, it's a show that's told through many different perspectives and narratives, but this episode's, the way that the season culminates in the penultimate, like it usually does, this might be the best culmination of a series, of a season that Game of Thrones has done.
Yeah, because the finale is great, too. When they go back-to-back like that, it's really something special to end your season off. It's always interesting to see how they end with this big, shocking moment and how the next episode kind of builds off that. It's not always as shocking or it's not always a huge moment, but the way they're able to expand on that and set you up for the next season is flawless.
So the first scene in this episode is between Robb and Catelyn, and this is great, too, to start this episode with this scene between these characters because it gives the audience some hope that Robb has maybe found his footing within this war, that he's going to hatch a plan that is going to be successful. And he's bringing Catelyn back into the fray. It's showing that he, once again, is...
Back into the what?
No pun intended. Back into the fray. And it's showing that he is once again trusting her with her war plans. And she even has a a scene with Renly in season 2 when she goes to meet with Renly. I don't sit on my son's war councils, but now this is a big step because this is really a last-ditch effort to swing this war back to the Northerners.
Yeah, he wants to take Castle Rock, and she's saying, like, why are you telling me this? And he lists all the bad things that have happened, and time again, he didn't take her advice seriously, and look where they are now. It's such a risky plan, but they're willing to make that sacrifice. They've gone through so much, had so much loss, and now they want to have the Lannisters feel what has been going on with them for the past few years. It's kind of funny, because I'd have loved to see how that would play out if he was able to get Castle Rock and all these different things. But like you said before, it's such a powerful opening scene, and it really makes what happens later so heartbreaking, because you do have that little hope. There's something to, like, we're going to go down swinging. We're going to go to Castle Rock, and if Tywin gets us before we can siege the castle, well, we'll go out like Father did.
Right, and it's those little moments, too, saying that if this plan fails, then we're going to die like Ned, and the audience is thinking there's no way that this character who was built up to avenge his father is going to go out like Ned. And that line by Catelyn when she looks into the camera and she says, "Show them how it feels to lose what they love."
Show them how it feels to lose what they love.
The way that Michelle Fairley delivers that line, the whole episode, she's terrific, but just her facial expressions in this episode, that you could feel the anger and the pain that has been brought upon her by this war, that she does want this plan to succeed more than anything in the world.
It has to.
And that next shot, too, it's a great shot where it's his army traveling back to the Twins, and Grey Wind is leading the pack, and you hear the Stark theme, the Stark music, and it's a nice touch, too, in the beginning of this scene, where it's the first time that Robb meets Walder Frey, because it was Catelyn who goes to visit him in season 1. They show that Robb is eating the bread, so that he's being protected under guest right.
Yeah, which the Freys don't really follow too well.
Right, but it's part of Westerosi culture.
I know, so. It's a nice little nod, because they insist, like in the books, it's like stress, like, all right, we gotta get in there, we gotta eat. They kind of just fly over it in the show, but it's a nice little call to the book readers.
And I like that, too, that the show is not explaining what guest right is in Westerosi culture, because they kind of do that in the next episode through Bran.
Yeah. And I like in this scene, too, how Walder, they kind of reestablish his character, where he's trotting out his daughters and granddaughters, and he's kind of taunting Talissa and really disrespecting Robb in his face in front of all of his men. It's kind of like, oh, that's that guy from season 1, he's a fucking dick. So it kind of makes, it's a nice little refreshing to the audience, and it makes what happens later kind of make sense. It's not like out of nowhere.
And we talked about this in the last review, too, the comedic elements in Game of Thrones. David Bradley as this character is phenomenal, and he is hilarious. The comedic energy that this character has. Like what you say, when he's trotting out all his daughters and he's trying to remember the names.
Mary, fine.
It's so good.
Waldina.
I'm Mary.
Fine.
Well,
he's so good in this role.
Edmure is hilarious, too, when he's like trying to peek at all the daughters and granddaughters. Like, what do we got here? What do we got here?
Twins, you could have had both. I don't care. He's so good, and David Bradley is an actor that's been in many different things, most notably Harry Potter as Filch. This performance, I think he gives the best performance of the episode. And it's funny, in this business, you have actors who, they have 50, 60-year careers, and it takes them that long to give the performance of a lifetime. But just credit to David Bradley. He's so good as this character.
Yeah, and like what I was saying before, we haven't seen this character since season 1 when Kat made that deal. And he's able to, in just 1 or 2 scenes, make it a character where it's not just Robb being killed by some random person. It means something. I feel like that's kind of hard to do. It kind of just comes out of nowhere if you don't remember him.
2 episodes and he's already a great villain.
Yeah, but he's able to establish in his opening scene that, he's a great villain, and it makes that more impactful.
Yeah, because you just hate him in this scene. You're on Team Robb from the beginning, obviously, because everybody loves the Starks, and just his conduct, the way that he acts around people, he's that grumpy old man that just doesn't care anymore. He's willing to say whatever is on his mind, and even in front of the king of the North, he can be this disrespectful. It's incredible. And I think it was such a great decision by the showrunners to kind of mislead us again by including these scenes with Daenerys, because it's kind of this juxtaposition of 2 of our heroes, Robb and Daenerys. One of them is going to fail, the other one is going to succeed in a major way. And in this scene, it's Daenerys, it's Daario, it's Jorah, it's Barristan, Grey Worm. They're planning the sack of Yunkai. And this is where Daario is kind of proving himself again to Daenerys and to the leaders that he knows the best way to sack this city.
Yeah, and Jorah's skeptical. Rightfully so. I mean, they just met this guy. If he wasn't like tall and handsome,
Yeah, that is
Danny
true.
probably be like, get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a nice moment for Grey Worm where she gives him that leadership role, and do you trust him? He actually gets to decide, and he's in this new position of power. It's a nice little character moment for him.
Yeah, and like you said, the romantic chemistry between Danny and Dario, that Jorah is obviously going to be jealous, and maybe if Dario was a 6 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10, guy's a dime. But it is, I do really enjoy how they include, because maybe you could have traded out these scenes and put them in the finale. Focus on Daenerys' sack of Yunkai in the finale, because I think it was a good decision by the showrunners. And going back north of the wall, we see Sam and Gilly, and once again, we talked about this in the previous episode, that this might be my favorite Sam and Gilly scene, where Sam is talking about all the things that he's learned through reading. And Gilly is just amazed by it.
Yeah, calls him a wizard.
Right, and
it's like, fuck yeah.
Well, that's a nice callback to season 1, too, when he told Jon, when I was a boy, I always wanted to be a wizard. John's like, what are you, stupid?
I always wanted to be a wizard. What? Oh, I'm serious. So you'll stay and say your word with me?
Came to the wrong place, Antwell Tarley. But that smile, because Gilly is genuine in this moment. You're amazing. It's like you're wielding magic right now with all the information that you have. How is this even possible?
Knowledge is power.
And then power is pizza. And talk about another great magical moment. Real magic. Gilly finally seeing the wall. I always love when characters see the wall in this show. They're always so amazed by it. And it always looks fantastic.
She says her father told her that a wildling never looked upon the wall and lived.
Our father used to tell us that no wildling ever looked upon the wall and lived. Here we are. Alive.
And I think the best character pairings of all the odd couples that we've seen throughout the show, the Hound and Arya are the best pairing, bar none.
And it's such a great scene, too, just for the character moments, where I feel like no one has ever won at the Hound like this, the way Arya is. Maybe Gregor, but in a more physical way, but she's fearless of him. She's trading jabs with him. They have the argument over what to do with the man who's just trying to make a living.
The hog farmer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good plan, the Hound posing as the hog farmer going to the wedding, but it's weird that he goes to the place where I have to kill this man immediately after I rob him.
Yeah.
And you can kind of still see that innocence of Arya, where she's going on a dark path, but here, you don't kill innocence.
But it's also, he tells her that she's too kind, and then she has to show her that I'm not that kind, and when she knocks him back down, I don't know, it's just a great moment for the characters, because they are very alike in a lot of ways.
And the comedy, too, man.
Oh,
the comedy in this show, when she's talking about Jack and Nagar, and I know a real killer that will make you look like a kitten. And the Hound's like, is that him? No? All right.
Good.
He'd kill you with his little finger.
That him?
No?
Good.
Great chemistry between them and great writing in these scenes. And I love these insights, too, that the show gives us into the past of Westeros. We had it with Sam and Gilly. We didn't mention the first mention of the Night Fort, which is a castle that has a lot of lore and a lot of mystery surrounding it in the books, that there might be some answers there that prove to be more important in the novels than the show. But we're going to see the Night Fort moving forward. And here, the gift. It's just those mentions of Bran the Builder. He gave the gift to the Northerners after the Night's Watch was established. And then he talks about how the gift has basically been abandoned because all the wildlings, they come over the wall, they rape and they pillage, and people can't sustain this land anymore. You could see Osha that she's kind of offended.
Yeah, Jojen, he's like a dog. You know, they can sense a thunderstorm coming.
Yeah.
Right away.
What's that green seeing?
Yeah.
Nice little foreshadowing, too, about
like,
the story of using a skull to drink blood.
Oh, yeah.
Carl fucking Tana.
It's like, how'd you know that? You green see abilities? Like, no, my weather app.
Yeah, I got the weather. You know Al Roker?
Yeah,
Took a shit in the White House once.
What?
You never heard about Al Roker crapping his pants in the White House?
No.
Yeah, look that up after this.
I don't think I want to.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, it's not video, it's just an article.
Okay.
And them taking refuge in the abandoned mill kind of ties together with Jon, that they're going to cross paths again.
Well, that's the one they passed before in Ygritte Dodo's a palace.
Right, yeah.
It's a mill.
It's a mill. Tormund here has this plan to rob this horse breeder, and it's Jon, he still just can't let go of the honor of being a man of the Night's Watch, where he's not going to kill an innocent man. It's similar to Arya with the Hound, where if he's put in this position where they're going to murder this man, take his horses.
It's interesting, too, because when you think of the wildlings, you obviously think of all the stories and how they're just savages. I would think Mance and Tormund, they can't sense, like, killing an innocent man is not honorable. From what they're saying, they don't believe they're evil people, right?
Yeah, they're fighting a war.
But it's one man. Like, if Jon can't be like, oh, I know that guy is a good guy. Like, I'm still a brother of the Night's Watch. Well, when I was a brother of the Night's Watch, I know him. We can spare him. You're kind of muddling the line of what you're doing. Like, are you just evil savages, or are you trying to survive?
Yeah.
And there's ways to go about it where I don't think you have to kill everyone you come across, because then you're just what people talk about you, brutal savages.
Well, even Tormund says, when Jon tells him that the Night's Watch is going to send many men after a murderer, they're not going to send so many men after thieves. And Tormund says that's good for us, because if the Night's Watchmen are out on the open field, it's much easier to kill them than if they're in a castle. And I don't think that's what Tormund was thinking when he first spotted the man.
Yeah.
But I think at times they are bloodthirsty people, and I think living north of the wall can make you like that.
Yeah.
Where you come to hate your enemy so much, and eventually Tormund does drop that mindset. But at this point, I think he's still building, he's still developing as a character, transforming. But that look that Ygritte gives to him, thinking, what are you up to, boy? She's got a couple of good faces in this episode, but she's another one, man. It's just Rose Leslie is so good with this character. And at this point, this relationship is about to be broken forever. And it's sad. But another hilarious scene between Arya and the Hound. But at first, it's very sad because Arya is overlooking the twins, that they finally arrived. And I know this feeling. I think we've all had this feeling when you're just so close to something, yet you still feel so far away, that somehow because you're that close that you're not going to get there. It's that empty feeling where I think Arya has had to harden herself over her journey over the course of these 3 seasons, that now that she can let up a little bit, she doesn't really know how to respond to those emotions anymore.
Well, yeah, she's looking off in the distance, longing for her family, and the Hound says she's afraid. Like you said, she's so close, but after everything that's gone on with her and all the obstacles she had to overcome, she almost just can't believe it, that it's there. Like, she has to keep looking at it to make sure, like, yes, that's where we're going. That's where my family is, and we're that close.
And her fears come to fruition in this episode, that she does get there and she's just not there in time. But that back and forth that they have about fear, I mean, the Hound has lived his whole life around men who have been forced to fight and who have ultimately died. So fear is going to be a very recognizable emotion to him.
I know fear when I see it. Seen it a lot.
I knew fear when I saw it in you.
But Arya counters him by saying, yeah, I know fear too. I saw fear in your eyes when you had to fight Beric and his fucking sword went on fire, you little bitch. And I know how you got those scars. You want to know how you got those scars? I know.
Like I was saying before, she's going toe-to-toe with him. She's not backing down. And the Hound's kind of, like, he respects it, I feel.
Yeah, he
no
does.
No one has ever done this to him. And especially coming from Arya, he's probably like, all right, kind of like it. And then they go back and forth. And, you know, like when you're arguing with a friend and you go one step too far?
Yeah. Ilan Payne snipped your daddy's neck.
Closest you've been to family since Ilan Payne snipped your daddy's neck.
Yeah.
Daddy, too. That makes it even worse. Saying daddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking bury you right now.
Do you think that this foreshadowed Arya killing the Hound in season 8? But I thought of it not necessarily killing him for revenge, but maybe the Hound dies and comes back as a white, and she has to stab him through the eye with her dagger.
Someday, I'm gonna put a sword through your eye and out the back of your skull.
There are a lot of things when I go back and watch where they kind of say, I think the Hound says something to Arya with the pig farmer. I forget what he says, but it's something...
Kindness will get you killed.
Yeah.
You're very kind. Someday it'll get you killed.
I thought of that too, that Arya is going to make a mistake in season 8.
So it's, when you're rewatching and the series isn't over yet, you always hold on to those little moments like, oh, maybe that could be it, or it's just a random line of dialogue. That'd be interesting to see. Something to keep your eye on.
This is a great convergence, too, of 2 of the narratives that have been playing out throughout the first couple of seasons, Bran and his crew, Jon and the Wildlings. And it begins with Bran and they're inside the mill, and they're all talking about ways that they can get over the wall, and you hear the mention of the different castles that used to be manned, and doors that were sealed with stone and ice, that they're basically going to be impossible to get open. The horse breeder shows up, and this is when all chaos ensues.
I fucking love this sequence.
Oh, it's great.
It's so
It's
great.
so good.
It's just how... My favorite part is how close Jon and Bran are together. They never really interact with each other.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like they both have that idea. Like, Bran sees him through the eyes of Summer, and Jon knows he just got saved by 2 direwolves. So it's kind of like that connection they had,
Yes.
but they never actually interact.
So good.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that this happens, because when they're north of the wall at Craster's Keep when they get taken prisoner by Carl Tanner. John, they're both in the same vicinity. But we also get a pretty important moment in terms of the lore of the wargs and the Greenseers in Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, that Bran is the first person ever to warg inside of another human. When Hodor is losing his mind because of the thunder, and visually, the way that their eyes go to the back of their head, it's so creepy.
He sleeps in the sky. He just falls down.
Oh, he knocked him out, yeah. Hit him with the mantis move.
Yeah.
Sleep. I've heard people talk about this too, that while it's impressive, it's still done on Hodor. So, and I don't know in Season 8 if we're going to see Bran warg inside of Daenerys or another person. I think this is something that's not going to be addressed in the show moving forward.
Just a one-off.
Yeah. But I think, like, because in the book they have that, what is it, that prologue where one of the wargs is trying to save his life by warging into another person.
Sixskins.
Right, yeah, and it's so disturbing.
Yes, it is. When they're, like, battling inside, like, it is very disturbing.
Yeah, so maybe they're going to do that again in the books. They're going to come back to that, but not in the show. I don't think so.
No, I think that was just to set up, like, his abilities. Like, he can do things other than wolves, like dragons.
Yes, right.
And so they finally catch up with the guy, and they order... Well, Oral has a bright idea to have Jon do the killing, and Jon still can't, like you said before, he doesn't have it in him to kill an innocent man. And you can kind of tell, I love this part too, like how Tormund hesitates for a second to give the order to kill Jon. You can just see where that relationship, how it evolved, and how he really grown to like Jon. And just that split second from a man like Tormund, it's pretty telling.
Yes, definitely. And even when Jon has his sword on the horse breeder's neck, it's similar to in Season 1 or in Season 2 when he was given the task of killing Ygritte and he couldn't do it. And even then Ygritte was saying, just kill me, Jon Snow, strike me true. And in this scene she's saying, do it. And then she's the one that has to kill the man. It's funny because Jon ends up having to fight all the wildlings, but Ygritte is basically just wrestling with Tormund in this scene because she's so distraught. And I don't know what she would have done if Tormund let go of her. Was she going to try and kill Jon?
Well, he knocks her down right away just in case she tries to help him.
Right,
trying to get her. But back to what I was saying about the wildlings. Like, is it that egregious to not want to kill an innocent man? Oh, he must be a crow. I'm like, nah, maybe I'm just not a scumbag. You know?
Yeah. No, they've got some issues.
Yeah. They don't really think too much stuff out. But
no, they don't. It's not thinking.
That's why we love them.
It's doing. That is a very good point about Tormund. And I just love the fact that Bran was there inside of Summer to help his brother. It's such a great moment between them, shared between them, even though if they don't really know it.
Yeah, and when Jon kills Oral, it's very satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
You were right the whole time.
And then he's like, what does your bird do if I kill you? Does it fly away in the wind like a kite? No, it tries to...
fucking gouge your eyes out.
The way they shot that, too, because I watched the behind the scenes, is that they put bird food on Jon's forearm, and they had a trained eagle just kind of like jump on him and it was like pecking at his forearm.
Fuck that, dude.
I would have been shook.
Yeah.
Like, no way I'm doing that. You get the stunt eagle.
And Jon finally gets away, and just like you said before with Rose Leslie's facial expressions, you can just see the heartbreak in her face. It's amazing acting.
And going east, we're seeing an action sequence that we really haven't seen a lot of in Season 3. And you kind of forget, too, that the show has this medieval aspect in terms of sword fighting and sacking cities. But Daario, Jorah, and Grey Worm...
This dude just oozes fucking charisma, man.
Oh, he's so
good. He can just sound... he can make whistling into the cockiest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
That bird whistle that he's got?
It's like, yeah, I'm the fucking best
one. I'm the best.
Yeah.
Never going to find a better whistler than me.
Yeah.
But the three styles that are on display, too, the three fighting styles, where you have Grey Worm, trained as an Unsullied, the Westerosi Knight, and then Daario, who's just kind of Daario.
Yeah.
It's great.
The fight choreography in the scene is amazing.
Yes.
I noticed that right away. Grey Worm hits him with that spin, with a spear.
Oh, yeah, the spin move that he's got. His footwork is impeccable.
Oh, man.
He trained with Olajuwon in the offseason.
You would think that many people that were trained in the same style as him would be able to take down a bunch of...
Well, let's not go too far. He's the best of the best, okay?
All right.
One of the best transitions, too, between scenes, and I talked about this earlier, that one character is in a very precarious situation, and the other one is going to succeed. But at this point, it looks like Daenerys' men are being surrounded by all of the slave soldiers of Yunkai, and then it cuts to the wedding reception, and everyone's celebrating. You have all the Northerners, all the Starks, the Tullys, the Freys. You have the people outside wrestling.
Yeah.
Of course, the Northerners would be doing that.
Keep yourself entertained somehow.
Yeah, and that's also a great contrast, too. The outside chaos and then the wedding ceremony taking place indoors. One of the funniest scenes. This episode is really funny for an episode that's so dark. A lot of great comedic scenes, but when Edmure sees his bride for the first time, it's like, what?
I love the look Walder gives to Rob.
Oh,
it's
so
like, not bad, huh?
This could have been you.
The whole time, Rob's probably like, I fucked up, man.
It's looking at Talisa, looking at her, looking at...
It's like I could have won the war and had a wife also.
Blackfish being hit on by some of the Frey girls. That's great, too. So funny.
He's a catch.
Ah. But before the real festivities begin, we get the final scene between Osha, Bran, and Rickon. And I said that I cried twice during this episode. This was the first time.
Yeah, this is an emotional one.
This is so sad.
It's sadder now, too, because...
Rickon's dead.
Yeah, but Bran never acknowledges it or probably
Cares.
just... Yeah, he doesn't care. And you go back to this scene where they're just so innocent. They're brothers, but they're so young. And just how Rickon wants to stay with his brother and he refuses to leave. And he's tough enough. He wants to stick by his side. It's very sad.
And even before this is where they get into Bran's abilities to warg into Hodor, to warg into Summer. And Bran tells Rickon that he saw Jon when he was inside of Summer, and just the excitement on Rickon's face. And it's the last moment between these two brothers, and it's really the last time that Rickon spends any time with somebody he can consider family.
Yeah, it's so sad when Bran tells Rickon that he saw Jon. He gets so excited, and the next time he sees Jon, a little more excited probably.
Yeah, different type of excitement.
Yeah.
I think when he left, Bran was like, make sure to zigzag just in case everybody shoots an arrow at you. You're fine, kid. And the plan to send him to the Umbers,
hell of a plan.
Yeah, kind of backfires. But what else are you going to do in this situation? I mean...
Send him to the fucking, the Reeds.
Or Castle Black.
Yeah.
I think the best...
Well, no, they think Castle Black might be under attack. Hey, you should be like, oh, yeah, Jojen, weren't our parents best friends? Yeah, your dad will take care of my bro, right? Yeah, send him over there.
I think that might be more dangerous. Going into the heart of the war. It makes me think, too, I wish they would have kept Rickon alive. I don't think you needed to kill off Rickon. I think it would have been interesting to have him as King of the North, but Jon kind of rules until he comes of age.
Or King of the Skagosis. I love that theory.
Yeah.
With the riding a unicorn. With a bunch of fucking... Those are savages over there. Bunch of cannibals.
Right, but we didn't have time for that in the show, so... No unicorn budget. Don't have a ghost budget, don't have a unicorn budget.
Yeah, it's like, the Umbers, they'll teach you how to swing a sword. Maybe they should have taught him to zigzag.
The Umbers are not known for zigzagging. But Osha, too. I mean, we get to see her again in Season 6 for 2 episodes when she returns and when she's killed by Ramsay, which to me was another unnecessary death. But when she says to Mira and Jojen to take care of this one, he means the world to me. That's when I dropped the tear. I was like, she's a Stark. She's family.
At first, they didn't really like each other, but now they're growing to love each other.
Characters being separated and now characters being reunited over in Essos. Daenerys learns that the sack of Yunkai was a success, and the two people that she sees at first are Jorah and Grey Worm. And the first person that comes to her mind is, where's Dario?
And Dario Naharis? Jorah's like, you motherfucker.
You don't love me. The facial expression on that man.
Oh yeah, he's dead inside.
This isn't going to work between us, huh? But Dario coming back looking like a full course plate of lasagna at this point.
Fucking oozing sex all over the place. Like
he's oozing sex.
Yeah.
Sex appeal.
I'm surprised Daenerys didn't just fucking kick everyone out and just go to town.
Everybody
right
get the fuck out.
Yeah.
We got unfinished business here.
It's like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about just get the fuck out.
We're going to consummate this sack of the city. But Daenerys wins her next city, and it's another important step for her becoming that conqueror that she's known for. And there's a great scene. I think it's the final scene of Season 3, right? Misa?
Yeah.
So we'll see that in the next episode. But like I said, they could have used all these scenes in the finale, but I think it was smart to position them in this episode. Because once again, it gives the audience that subconscious hope that everything is going to be all right for our heroes, including Robb. And this too, the way that they set this whole sequence up, because I think overall it's about a 15 to 20 minute sequence. And it's a short episode too, which you don't really realize.
Oh yeah, it is.
but I think it might be the shortest episode of the season. But it's the first time in so long that these characters, especially Rob and Catelyn, that they're just genuinely happy.
And I like how they set up this whole sequence. You have Rob and Talissa with their playful banter, Roose Bolton and Catelyn, and then you have Edmure and Roslyn on the dais having a good time. Everyone just, it's perfect.
Yeah, there's so many
Nothing can go wrong.
You could kind of, it's easy to mess this type of scene up, where these scenes can feel very unnatural, but everything makes sense in the context of these smaller conversations. I mean, my favorite one, which has become probably one of the funniest stories of the show, is Roose Bolton talking about how he married Walder Frey's fattest wife because he promised her weight in gold, or silver.
Blackfish loves that.
Oh, he's like this guy. I like this guy. We could trust him. And when Catelyn says, I hope she makes you happy, she's made me very rich.
Yeah.
And even the interactions between Catelyn and Blackfish talking about how Edmure's a fool.
Yeah.
This asshole's up there. He's complaining the whole time, and now he's having the time of his life.
I love him, but he is a fool.
And like you said, between Rob and Talissa, it's such a sweet moment between these characters where they can finally just be a couple.
He's like, oh, perhaps I made a terrible mistake. And you see Catelyn even glance over, and she has like a smile on her face, like she's finally accepted her, and she sees that she makes Rob happy. And it's kind of an acceptance in just that one little look. A lot of looks in this episode that tell more than just what you see on screen.
Yes.
And
they're the best at that.
Yeah.
This show.
It is great. And just like, I guess for the tone of the whole sequence, how it starts with this playful banter, then it gets a little more serious when they're talking about how Talissa's pregnant. And all this, how I think I know what I'm going to name it. It's like, oh, really? I think a father should have a choice in his son's name.
Yeah, well, hold on. The bedding ceremony.
What's you in the bedding?
You keep forgetting the bedding ceremony. It's tradition. Well, you're not a big fan of the bedding ceremony?
A little uncomfortable.
Did you forbid it at your wedding?
Yeah. I don't think it'd be right to break a man's jaw.
It's a lot different from the bedding ceremony that happened in the previous wedding between Tyrion and Sansa. But the Northerners are like, hell yeah. And I guess Edmure is obviously a little bit more content with his wife than Tyrion was.
Yeah.
In his relationship. It makes me think, too, did Edmure's wife know what was happening? Because she kind of seems uncomfortable during these scenes. Obviously, it's a bedding ceremony and never goes well for women, but she might know what's about to happen to Edmure's family. But it's just so funny, too, when you see that outsider perspective from Talissa that she can't believe what she is seeing. She's like, oh, that's so uncomfortable for that poor girl. And Edmure's Mr. Don't let this snake out of the cage. When he's out, you can't cage him.
Jesus, Edmure, you're a married man now. Can't be joking around like that, making whoopee while your whole family dies.
And this is too where Rob and Talissa, they start to talk about their future together, and just the shock on Rob's face, not necessarily shock, but the happiness and the surprise when she says that she wants to name their son Eddard, if it is a son. That moment, that gesture just hits him right in the heart, because he gets the chance to become his father for a young son, to raise his son like Ned raised him. And I can imagine that's the only thing that man truly wants in this moment. And that's why he's fighting the war.
Yeah, that's what he wants. Teach little Ned Stark how to ride horses.
Yep.
Don't you want to teach little Ned Stark how to ride horses?
I do. The Lannisters send their regards.
And while this is all going on, it just has that sense of something's going to happen. We know what happens in episode 9. There's 10 minutes left, so to speak. There's an eerie vibe, you're not really sure, and it's just hanging over the whole episode. And I remember first watching this, even though I knew what was going to happen, it just felt like any second shit's about to hit the fan. And it's one of my favorite scenes, it's one of my favorite parts of the book, and also of this whole sequence is when Catelyn notices the chainmail on Roose Bolton after she hears the Rains of Castamere playing.
Yeah. But even before that, too, with the bedding ceremony, where you can see that the room visibly becomes darker.
Yeah.
Where people are taking candles out of the room. And like you said, there's something brewing, there's something simmering, that something bad is going to happen.
You hear the music in the background, and then...
Well, that look that she gives, too, when the music is kind of... That's another thing, too, where it's kind of simmering, where it's hanging on that note.
Whose playlist is this?
That look, though, that she gives to the cello player, that is one fucking look of dread if I've ever seen one. And we always talk about how amazing the score is for this show. I think it's the best score for a fantasy series since Star Wars. And Raymond Djawadi, the way that he composed this song, The Rains of Castamere, it feels like a family heirloom that has been passed down from generation to generation, yet the song is only a few decades old. It tells the story of an event that was foreshadowed in the previous episode when Cersei is talking to Marjorie about how Tywin Lannister crushed House Rain. The song itself does a great job of weaving together themes of power and fear, and every time you hear it, you just know something bad is going to happen. They do a good job of not really foreshadowing that this is going to happen. I guess because he's made so many mistakes, you can kind of assume that it's not going to end well for him, but it's just one of the best subversions of cliches ever. Because it's just the setup of Ned Stark to be the hero of the show. He dies. So it goes, oh, naturally it's going to be Robb that's going to avenge him. But just the way that this plays out with Walder Frey when he begins that speech, that's an all-time Game of Thrones speech.
You never really know until the end. You're always holding out hope. Like, it can't happen again. This is not going to happen again.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, he's going to find his way out. Everything's going to be okay. Yeah, Walder, man. He really knows how to work a room.
He's got a lot of his own people planted in it, so.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that happens, too, is when he says, Walder Frey is talking about how he'd be remiss if he didn't deliver his queen a gift. And this is, to me, this was the most startling thing in Game of Thrones. The most startling death, and I think it's still the most horrifying. A lot of people say Shireen. But this, I remember I was watching this late at night. It was probably like 3 a.m. I was binging season 3. I didn't know what to... What? Like, they just fucking murdered this woman's baby. It's like, what the fuck?
In their defense, they didn't know she was pregnant.
That is true. Oh my God. How far?
We fucked up, Dad. Kill them all.
Take them all out at this point, yeah.
It's not funny. Yeah. It's brutal, man. And Robb's look, he's fucking horrified. He can't react. He doesn't know what's going on. Once he finally gathers himself, it's too late.
And you mentioned Roose Bolton when he's got the chainmail and Catelyn says, Robb, run! It's so bad. She gets pieced up by the crossbows. He gets pieced up.
Yeah, man.
Everybody's getting pieced up.
I kind of wish there was more of, and I'm not nitpicking. Well, I kind of am nitpicking, but I don't put it against the episode. I wish it was more book-like, where you had, like...
There was some sort of
There was a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
Where you had Umber putting the table over Robb, like doing everything they can to save Robb's life. It's pretty genius, too. I like just the phrase, like their whole plan to... They had someone on Great John making sure he was too drunk to fight. They had someone on Small John, someone on Mormont, just to make sure that they're distracted and they're too drunk to respond.
Yes. And
we kind of had, little by little, Robb's, I guess, counsel kind of just dissipated.
Yeah, even Blackfish.
Great John never came back. We get some weird Small John in season 6.
Yeah, and I can understand why they don't really have time to focus on that. The only one they kind of do is Blackfish leaves to go piss.
Yeah.
And everybody assumed that he was still alive because of, obviously, the book. He comes back in book number 4. Yeah, but the way that this commences, and then Arya and the Hound finally arrive. And they can't get in because the plan is in action. The doors have been closed earlier by one of the Freys, and Arya sneaks away. And the first thing that she sees is the Northerners being murdered by the Freymen.
Well, she's happy at first, like, oh, headed back to Winterfell, are we? She's like, I know Winterfell.
I know that place. I grew up there. I think we forget sometimes that she is a little girl.
Yeah.
No matter how tough she acts and how cool she is.
The way she handles herself, too.
Yeah, she's just a kid, man. To see, and what she sees in the next episode, I always think that's this episode when she sees them trotting out Robb's body.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a horrifying image.
Well, I guess we'll just finish with the Arya stuff now, just when she goes to find Grey Wind, too. That's heartbreaking. Yeah. I feel like if I didn't read the books, I'd be like, oh, she's going to get Grey Wind, let him loose, and he's going to somehow save Robb.
Yeah.
I kind of wish he would have got his fucking licks in, too.
And she's there for Ned's death, and she's also a spectator for Robb's death.
And Catelyn.
Yeah, she wasn't there for Jon's death. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Terrible sister.
That's your brother. Well, cousin. Yeah, but when it goes back into the way that this is played out, too, because the whole Red Wedding sequence is, they stretch it out. It's like an 8-minute sequence, where when it goes back to inside of the Great Hall, it's Catelyn crawling under the table. And then we have Robb crawling on the floor, trying to get to Talissa, and the way that he's holding her stomach. It's some of the most disturbing imagery you're going to see in this show.
Yeah,
the whole thing is it's
brutal.
It's just macabre. It's just disgusting.
And he's getting mocked the whole time. Like he's like, "Oh, the king in the north arises."
Yeah, It's brutal.
And there's still that sliver of hope. Like, he's standing up. He's conscious still. Has to go for broke. She has nothing else to do. She grabs his wife.
You know what this reminds me of, too, when Walter is kind of, in Breaking Bad, when Walter White's negotiating for Hank's life.
Yeah.
Walter kind of has this hope, and Catelyn has that same hope, but at this point, it's like, there's no way that they're going to let Robb live after this. I mean, what do you go back home? And
what's a better comeback from Walder Frey when he's like, when she grabs his wife and he's like, oh, I'll find another. Or in the book, and he's like, not my son, that's my grandson. So it's just like, fuck.
The wife.
Yeah.
The wife comeback is so good.
Let him go, or I will cut your wife's throat.
I'll find another.
It's so funny when she's like, a son for a son. And he's like, that's my grandson.
That's good, too.
Yeah.
But the I'll find another it's a bit more brutal.
She knows it's all lost right there. And Robb, that one hits me every time I see it. That last word he says, he's distraught. He's probably dying. And seeing...
Probably.
Well, you know... A couple arrows, I mean...
It's almost like a third
50
of
Cent
his blood.
got shot 9 times, you know?
That is true.
So
Robb ain't no fitty, though.
True, but just the distress of seeing your unborn son and wife murdered and your mother doing everything she can to protect you. And just that last mother, just so weak. He barely can get it out.
Mother.
And then Roose Bolton comes with the finishing move.
The Lannisters send their regards.
He doesn't take his eyes off his mother the whole time. After he stabs him, he walks away, and just right in front of her, keeping eye contact. It's brutal, man.
And when you see this look of pure hopelessness on Catelyn's face, it's just the culmination of everything that she's gone through over these 3 seasons. She's been bereaved of her family for years already, whether through death or separation, due to the War of the Five Kings. So when she sees Robb die right in front of her, she thinks of herself as truly alone with nothing left to live for. All of her family is gone, either dead or presumed dead. Nobody has seen Arya. She doesn't know where Arya is located. Sansa is in the hands of the Lannisters, and she's pretty much dead as soon as Tyrion gets a baby out of her. Nobody knows where Bran and Rickon are. They might as well be dead as well. Ned was executed in Season 1. Her father is dead. Her brother most likely might be killed. The emptiness that is captured in these final moments is haunting, and it's amazing that Michelle Fairley wasn't nominated for an Emmy for this scene, but that final scream that she lets out is just piercing. You would never think that Catelyn would be capable of murdering an innocent child, but what left does she have to lose? She slits the Frey girl's throat, and she's standing there mouth agape. In these final moments, you could just see all of the pain that this war has caused her and how her life was just utterly destroyed. Before she's even murdered, she's dead on the inside, and then her throat is slit, and she falls out of frame. No music, no shots following her death, just credits. So yeah, I mean, just to put a number on this episode, it's obvious that we're both going to give it a 10 out of 10. One of the best episodes of television of all time. And just to talk a little bit more about the performances that not only do they give in this episode, but overall, Richard Madden and Michelle Fairley, the way that they brought this relationship to life, it's perfect mother and son casting to me.
When you think of like great actors of the show, they both get overlooked, I feel like. Especially Michelle Fairley. She's fantastic.
Yes.
But even Robb, I mean, he doesn't really have so much as an emotional performance. He's kind of just Robb the whole time, you know? He has that great scene when he finds out that Ned's dead, and he has a couple moments where he's acting very kingly and he's trying to keep everything together. But both of them just do a phenomenal job. And it's kind of upsetting we never got to see her again, because we all held out that hope. Even until last season, I still held out hope.
Yeah.
But
George was he pushed the showrunners to include Stoneheart.
Yeah.
And he said one of the reasons that he kind of brought her back is he just loved Catelyn so much. So if he can bring her back in any sort of way. And I think it wouldn't have taken away from the moment. At first I used to think bringing back Catelyn cheapens the moment. But then when you kind of realize what Stoneheart is,
it's
that she's a monster.
Yeah.
It's not Catelyn. And it's a great representation, a metaphor for what vengeance does to you, how it corrupts your soul.
It's personified pretty much. And yeah, I'm very adamant. If you follow me on Twitter, you know Rob's my guy. I'm Rob over John until I die. So it's terrible. I remember reading it and I just closed the book and I just fucking threw it aside. I was in college and I just threw it on my fucking dorm room, on the dorm floor, and I just laid in bed for like hours.
Well, the thing too is I think you can make a case that the show made Rob a better character.
You can, yeah.
And I think this hits more in the show because obviously you have the advantage of you can't push Rob to the side in a television show because he's so prominent in the first season that it wouldn't make sense to put him on the sidelines.
Well, it's cool because I watched the first 2 seasons first, so I had Richard Madden in my head as Rob while I was reading.
And that kind of makes it better.
Yeah, it does. Especially when it's a testament to the performance where you keep that same guy in line with who you're reading in the book. Yeah, already having 2 seasons of Rob, even though he doesn't have that big of a part in the book as he does in the show, you kind of hold on to what he did in the show as well while you're reading it.
And his relationship with Talissa, I've said this multiple times, that I enjoy his relationship with Talissa more than the Gene Westerling relationship, and to lose that character as well. One of the best couples in Game of Thrones. She's a great actress as well, the great-granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin, I think, or the granddaughter. I'm not really sure how that works. But her performance was terrific. And just to talk about the impact that The Red Wedding had on viewers and readers, you have to credit George R. R. Martin, the balls on this guy to set up these characters, Rob and Catelyn, these main characters that we've grown to love, and be willing to kill them off because of the mistakes that they've made. And that's kind of the selling point of the show, too, is that characters don't have plot armor. If they make mistakes, they are going to pay for their mistakes. There's going to be consequences. And just the willingness to be able to kill off these main characters who we have become attached to. We love Rob. We love Catelyn. And in the show, we love these actors, the way that they brought these characters to life. I've never felt a gut punch like this before in fiction. I've never mourned for fictional characters more than I mourned for Rob and Catelyn and Talissa in the show. It's one of the most unbelievable moments of the series, and it solidified Game of Thrones as one of the premier shows of all time. The Red Wedding is considered one of the best episodes of television already, and it's only about 5 years old. And you also have to credit D&D, David Benioff, D.B. Wise, the way that they wrote this episode, the way that they took the Red Wedding and made it even bloodier and bigger. Director David Nutter, who's done some of the more premier episodes of the series in Season 5, Season 3. He's coming back for Season 8. And just once again, credit to George R. R. Martin, the way that he's able to take a real event, the Black Dinner, and weave it into his story. And it's just seamless the way that he incorporated this real-world event. It's just unbelievable. It's the most unbelievable moment of the show, and there's been nothing like it since. And yeah, the Rains of Castamere, what can you say? Not one scene with a Lannister, but damn, is their presence felt.
He's pulling the strings, man.
That boy Tywin!
If I was on their side, I'd be like, hell yeah, it's fucking
hell yeah.
dope. If they pull that okie doke on them, I'd be like, yo, Rob.
Oh, Rob's nice. Yeah, he's got the okie dokes.
Yeah.
The okie dokes for days.
But Rob is an honorable, pure saint, and he would never stoop that low. R.I.P. Rob. And Cat.
And R.I.P. Stark Soldier number 17.
He got fucking smoked.
R.I.P. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video, and before we go, I want to quickly thank our Patreon supporters. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to grow and evolve as a channel, so thank you for your generous pledges. If you are interested in supporting our channel through Patreon, visit www.patreon.com/nerdsoup, and you can see the different rewards we offer to our Patreon supporters. T-shirts, mugs, stickers, access to our behind-the-scenes video, and more. Thanks again for watching this video, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Or dislike, don't share, and unsubscribe. It's a binary world, folks.